The NSX there, you can see in the middle of the picture, the red and white car. That's Ralph Furman. Ryo Michigami was looking very racy there, defended to the inside in the other one, the dome car, the NSX, and we are off and racing. And I'll remind you that this is going to be a long one here on Motors TV as we settle in for probably around about, well, we know exactly, 173 laps. Now, this is the 300 field. For those of you coming new to this, you'll see two distinct classes of cars, and they started at the interval that you saw down there on the start line. The GT500 should be at the front of the field, and a little bit more technologically advanced, 500 horsepower, got to be the same engine manufacturer. You can move it around if you want to. Manual 6-speed transmission, but crucial, no ABS, no traction control, no automatic transmission, no carbon brakes. This is a real driver's formula, Kelvin.
Yeah, that's right, John, and we can see the Calsonic Nissans away, but I don't think they need to get too panicky yet. It's a long race, remember, but he's certainly making a break for it here in the first lap.
Yes, that's Benoit Treluer, who's been in Japan. Well, about 10-15 years ago, he was in the F3 Championship in France, came over to Japan, and has really built his career since then in the land of the rising sun. F3 was the F3 champion, and then moved over to sports cars here in Japan, and he's setting a cracking pace early on. Bit of a battle going on behind, with a couple of the NSXs having a little internecine battle. Almost, in fact, that's one of the Nissans there in similar colours to the car ahead of which is the NSX, and that's still got the Supras in here as well, which look fantastic. This is really sports car racing at its most pure. These cars with no driver aids, outlandish bodies, and sports car racing for the, I suppose, for the console generation, and still loads of battles going on. It's at the end of the first lap of 173, the GT500 field. Interesting as well, Kelvin, that almost all of the GT500 field have at least one European driver in them.
Yeah, that's right, John, and remember, this is a longer race than normal. It's a 1,000-kilometre race, so it's not unusual to have a third driver. Normally the races are shorter and they have two drivers, but we're getting a replay of that move.
And they got a bit close there, coming down into the first corner.
Yeah, he passed him. That's the Nissan passing the Honda into the first corner.
Yeah, nice job.
Yeah, normally they run two drivers, but a lot of them have invited a foreigner for this longer race, and to make use of the third drivers, just to give them a rest, really, so that they don't get too tired between the two of them.
That was Eric Comas making the pass. He's teamed up with Masakaka Yanagida and Seiji in that team, so by no means a bunch of rabbits in that one. Welcome back to Motors TV coverage of the Pokka 1000K, and in the pit lane, more pit stops now. This is one of the SC430s, the Lexus in the pit lane. Started 13th, that's the Andre Lotterer car. He'll be handing that off to either Wakisaka or Adrian Sutil. Meantime, here is the battle for second place in GT300. Three different cars. One of the Murcielagos there in third place, as we quickly flick back to second position. Now this is gradually closing down as Furman has closed in on Comas. Coming around to lap 25 now of 173. Put that one down, write it down for later, because it will become important. 1,004 kilometres. Both of them in the pit lane. Oh, now it's going to be down to the pit crews then. And remember, Le Mans rules apply here. Can't touch the car apart from driver changes whilst the fuel's going in. And that's tremendously frustrating.
And effectively here, Furman's got track position because his team are situated further down the pit road. So it's up to the Nissan team of Comas to turn that car around quicker so that they can get out back in front of the Nissan.
Masataka Yanagida getting in the Comas car, and Ralph Furman will hand over to his normal teammate Daisuke Ito. There's the leader, who has not yet pitted. No, that's not the leader, my apologies. It's now third place car, who of course is making up some positions. Long stops, but remember they can't do the tyres until the fuel's gone in, and fuel is just on a gravity feed. And I think the NSX has jumped them there. Not a great stop by the Nissan team. Well, we say that sports car racing in any way, shape and form is certainly a team sport, and well, has the Nissan been jumped by another car there as well, or is that a 300? No, I think they've lost 2 positions in the pits there, Kelvin, so clearly not an effective stop by the Comas team.
No, it's a bad stop, and he looks slow coming out of the pits as well. He didn't seem to accelerate away. It looks all right now, but here comes the leader. He's going to put a lap on them.
Owes us a pit stop, of course, though, and this is Trellier, who has set a cracking pace. I wonder how much longer he can go on. Be timed on fuel, of course. Everyone wants to use the absolute dregs of the fuel. This is this battle in 300 again. Second, third and fourth, I believe. That's fantastic, isn't it, seeing those different cars coming out of the hairpin. And I don't know what we're seeing here. Oh dear. Now is that a lot? Oh, he looks like he's had a little push there, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's had a shove from behind.
And looking through, I think that was the Kageyama Endless Advan car that he shares with Tomonobu Fuji. And they were third on the grid to start with. One of the front-running 300 cars had a little helping hand there. Now, here's the Ford GT. Delighted to see this finally getting into some international racing. Ford don't seem to be interested in doing it. This has been an effort that has originated here in Japan. It does look good. It's a little bit, dare I say, it looks a little bit lardy though, doesn't it? It's just, it just needs to shed a few pounds. Doesn't look quite as taut as it should do.
No, and he locked up there. Let's see if the Nissan gets a run back on him.
Very
down
long,
the straight.
Very long wheelbase on the Ford as well, which should make it fairly stable. The Nissan behind it, the car immediately behind it, does look much shorter between the wheels. Another one of those specials that Kelvin was talking about. I'll get it right in a minute. Only worked with them a million times. Right, here's the 47. This is the Derezza Z. Yoninobu Yasuda getting out. Masayoka Nagashima getting in. Started in 5th position. Oh, this is all getting terribly, terribly mixed up now, as out comes the 22, which rejoins after its pit stop. So we've got both classes. Michael Crum has given that car over to Richard Lyons now in that 22. That was the Ortec Z, Nissan Z, and here's that battle again. That Ford just looks like it's been ironed flat, doesn't it? It's fantastic.
Very low, yeah. Of course, which is what the GT40 was famous for, because it was only 40 inches high, and I believe the new one's a bit taller.
Yeah, it is.
It's a bit of a cheat, yeah.
Actually, you don't realise how much difference there is between them. I saw a pair of them at Silverstone, a new one and an old one, and the old one is tiny compared to the new one in every way, length, breadth and certainly height. Now we've got some of the lead runners coming through this battle for the top positions in 300, and again headlights being used. Ralph Furman was doing that to great effect earlier on, and Daisuke Ito continues on the same theme, and you can see just how much an advantage you can get if you can get through there quickly. Barely had to lift there.
Yeah, he's away. Made good work of them, and they're still tooth and nail in their own battle. Look, they're very evenly matched, these 3 cars. Totally different cars, but not one of them can get away.
That little special looks a bit like an old Porsche, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think it doesn't look as fast on the straight as looking at the shape of the car you think it would be. There's the Zent, that'll be a Lexus there, the one that's just gone through, and this is a close battle here. Suzuka v Nissan. And Comas at the back of that group.
Very, very good stop indeed. We've thought about 50 seconds, 42 and a half. Now we need to see back down the start-finish straight. As people running in the pit lane, never a good sign, and that's why someone has ground to a halt.
That's the 300
It's
Nissan.
that endless car. Yeah, oh, that's a disaster. third place qualifier in GT300, was running well up in the top 6, having that great battle, and that car has failed to exit the pit lane. Oh dear. And it is Fuji in the car. We just saw them change over. They're going to allow them to push it back down the pit lane. You're not allowed to reverse down the pit lane, but you're allowed to be pushed. But it's always fraught with potential disaster. Can't get the car moving. It's stalled and stuck in gear. Oh dear. Might suggest a clutch problem.
Something's jammed, unless the suspension's moved, and it's jamming the... No, he's off now. They seem to be looking at the front wheel before it started moving.
Meanwhile, behind, that's the yellow hat car coming in. Oh, now, I'm not an engineer from Dearborn, but that is not right, is it? On the front of that Ford.
It has lost some weight, at least, so you should be able to be back.
It may not be quite as aerodynamically efficient. That's on the far side of the circuit, and you can clearly see the DHG branding there. It's not looking its best from that angle. Now, what happened there? It's the faster cars coming through. Oh, it's what... Oh, is that the 8 car going through there? Oh, that's... Well, he's moved over a bit there. Racing incident, or are we going to call that a problem with the...
Well, it was being lapped by the Zanavi Nissan, the 500 class.
Yes,
who
that was Ide, wasn't it? Yuji Ide, who's in that car now. I thought that was the Furman car, but not. So is he meant to get out the way, or is the faster car meant to drive around him, Kelvin?
Well, good argument, isn't it? But he certainly didn't make much attempt to get out of the way. And the next corner was after that as a right-hander, and he didn't sweep left to take the natural line into the right-hander either. So 50-50, I suspect. But these guys in the 500 cars, they're pushing on a lot harder than the 300s. I have to say, the competition is more fraught, and they're not going to give an inch.
And as you can see, lost time due to that incident. That is the car, the Zanavi Nismo. Tsugo Matsuda started the car. Yuji Ide in that car. He's got 50 kilos of ballast on that car, and he's racing with a car that has none. So he's clearly wanting to make the best of it. May just have slightly overstepped the mark there. It was at this point that the incident happened. Now, this is a drive-through penalty for the Nismo of Yuji Ide. There he is. Now, we haven't got the full details as yet, but I can only presume that was for avoidable contact. We saw, remember earlier on, this car getting together with the Ford GT, Kelvin Burt.
Yeah, that's right. They tend to punish contact like that in Japan with drive-through or stop-go, and we did see that contact with the Ford. And well, he's going on by for another lap. Yeah, well, I wonder if
that's may have just gone out over the pit lane. We've just seen it. So the rule normally is you've got 3 laps to come in before it all starts getting a bit unnecessary. The chap hanging it out there doesn't look too happy, does he? Really? Body language not good from that official.
Of course, the driver's got radio to the team, so they'll be calling him in also.
Now, the opportunity is, of course, for the team manager to run down to the clerk of the course and say, whoa, what's this for? And try and argue his case, but he's only got 5 or 6 minutes, because that's 3 laps around here before the officials will take a dim view of this. But it is, it's the part of the team manager. Keep saying about this, the same as pit stops. It's a team sport, and people in the past, like, I think particularly of good team managers like Hugh Chamberlain, who chef to keep, like Hugh Chamberlain, or Phil Barker, who runs the RML team at Le Mans, they'll be jogging down the pit lane as soon as they hear about a penalty for their car to find out what it's for and whether they can maybe mitigate some of the circumstances. And that, I'm sure, will be going on at the moment. And at the moment, Yuji Ide is continuing at racing speed until his team tells him to come into the pit. And that clearly, it's not the driver's job to have to worry about that. He's waiting for the call from the pit lane, Kelvin.
Yeah, that's right. He needs to just keep pressing on. He may be asking them on the radio, what's it for or what's the problem, but his job is to stay out there and go as fast as he can, obviously staying within the letter of the law. So they can be quite officious in Japan, so what he doesn't want to do is upset the officials by ignoring what he's supposed to do. Let's see, he's approaching the last corner here, the chicane. Let's see if he pulls in.
Well, we know he's gone by once. We've seen him go by once, and to me, I don't think he's coming in there. No, he's gone by. He's gone by. So again, he'll see the D and the 23, his number, and it's amazing actually. You do see that quite easily. People say, do you see it? Yes, you do, because you're looking there. And if there's something hung out there, even if it's not your number, particularly if it's a black flag or a black and orange flag, it tends to catch your eye because you're not used to seeing something on the starter stand.
That's right, and it's high up there, just at the end of the straight, the end of the pit wall. So he couldn't really miss it, but he could say, I suppose, that he was slipstreaming past that 300 car. He was tucked right under the back of it as he went past. But we think he's got this and one more lap,
perhaps
before he's in trouble.
It is odd how much you do notice when you're in a race car, even when you're quite busy. If you see something that's not supposed to be there, particularly that catches your eye, and even in when it's wet or difficult conditions. Now that's changed.
Black flag, yeah, that's more of a problem. So he'll now have to stop, and either the car's been excluded, or he'll have to go up and get a big smack on the wrist and for not obeying the first order.
So it's now escalated. You will have seen that board before was a D for drive-through. Works slightly different in Japan. You might see a black flag with your number on it over here, which means report to the pit lane over in the UK. But that now seems to me that Ide has really dropped himself and the team in it. Hard to apportion blame here for what's going on now. Ide was at the wheel when the incident occurred, and I just wonder whether the team have argued their case and not been heard, whether they can't get in touch with him. But it's very unusual, this, Kelvin, particularly in one of these the 500 teams, because they are very, very professional.
Exactly. He's a pro driver. He should know the regulations. He should look at his pit board every lap. He should be on the radio. Is he slow? He's going again.
I don't believe this.
There's going to be a storm when he finally does stop. I don't know how they're going to stop him, but...
Well, and this could have repercussions far beyond this race now.
Yeah, he could get some sort of penalty to his licence or to future participation.
The guy who's hanging the board out now is frankly looking bored.
His arms are tied. His arms are tied, that's for sure.
The board's got progressively lower and lower. There's the team. And, well, hard to tell, isn't it? Hard to tell with the body language of the guys in the pit lane, whether they're annoyed, whether they're disappointed, whether they're completely ignoring it themselves. I don't know what to say about this, Kelvin. I've never seen anything like this.
I haven't seen the team waving frantically or even putting a board out. They're obviously just trying to talk to him on the radio, but I guess there's a chance the radio's not working, and if I were them, I'd be waving and jumping up and down on the pit wall to get him in.
Presumably he's got a pit board from his own team as well, and you know, really that's got to be saying in, or whatever the Japanese equivalent is.
Yeah, unfortunately we haven't seen that as he's gone past the pits. All we've been shown the black flag, which is at a different point. It's not at the point where his team are sat. So it'd be good to see whether they're jumping up and down and throwing stuff at him as he comes past. So a couple more corners and he's about to start another lap.
Well, this is at least 5 times and possibly more. We've seen it 5 times from when we picked up that first shot of the drive-through board as it was then. It's now escalated to a black flag. The number 23 has been hung out over the start-finish line for half a dozen laps as he comes round this time. And the Yuji Ide driven car, this is the Zanavi Nismo 350Z, running well up, qualified in 7th place, and has been a factor in this race. And remarkably, he's gone round again.
Here we go, look, there's his team.
Well, now that's the first time we've seen them do that. They may have been doing that earlier.
Surely he can't miss that. He's got no excuse if he...
Because you do look to, you know where your pit board is, you look at that point. If you look nowhere else down the pit wall, you look there.
Well, I mean, I could see a 2-foot wide arrow from the other end of the circuit, so I don't... I don't really know what excuse he's got. He's got to pull in at the end of this lap.
Well, this is quite remarkable. There's the guys, and they're saying, look, no, I hung it out. Look, there it is. There's the arrow. It's orange. We've hung it out. We've hung the penalty board out. Now, I think this guy at the left here is saying, wave it at him this time. Maybe he can't see it. Now, the team manager there is the chap in the shades, and he's clearly getting now a bit animated. This is the first time we've seen this, and now I think they're starting to realise just how serious this might be.
Yeah, that this could be problems for the team. I don't know what the sanctions are in the regulations in Japan, but
I've got a feeling it's not the last we're going to hear of this.
It reflects on the team as well as the driver. They employ the driver, and it's up to them to control him.
And they've got sponsors to think about, they've got the rest of the championship to think about, and you know, Yuji Ito is one of the main drivers in this team, and if he was to get a ban, it could impact the rest of their season. Surely he's got to come in this time. Stevie Wonder on a dark night could have seen that last signal.
Yeah.
And it's a long straight. It's not as if, you know, you're busy coming onto the straight and you're straight away doing something else here at Suzuka. It's, you know, it's a long straight, and that was from his team.
He's in.
Oh, finally! Is this Ito? It is.
Yeah,
Ito's in. Ito in. Is into the pit lane. Well, what sort of reception is he going to get from the team? I think he's driven past his team. He's done the drive-through.
No.
Well, it goes from bad to worse. He's done the drive-through, finally. Well, he's going to claim, isn't he, rightly or wrongly, that he never saw that until they put out... Oh, and he's getting right in the way. Oh. Is that Dumbrecht's car?
Yeah, it is, yeah.
Dumbrecht's given that car over, hasn't he, now to Hattori. And, well, as out goes the number one car.
Fast stop, that, 40 seconds.
Anything around about 40 seconds is quick. We thought 42 and a half was quick earlier on by the leader. Well, I'm sure we're going to talk more about this, Kelvin, because clearly to me, Yuji Ide is going to claim that he didn't have a radio and that he only came in when he saw the penalty board. He feels he's done the penalty now, but I wonder how this is going to be affected. What we need to see next time around is whether there's still the black flag out for him.
Well, the original penalty was a drive-through, which he's taken, but that was changed to a stop. Black flag is stop, and you get out and you have a talking to. So he's now going to get a bigger talking to than he was.
Longer.
Yeah.
Now, you've raced over here, and as you've said, they don't like any form of dissent. I mean, is he flirting with exclusion here?
He probably is, yeah. Yeah. They are fairly officious, and you've got to behave properly and show some respect to the rules and regulations.
Right, well, we await to see what happens there as we're looking at these battles in the 300 class with the 500 series going through them, and this is going to be the pattern of the race now, right at the end of the 173 laps.
And Ide's right in the middle of this, of course, so he's going to be yet again distracted.
Now, is he coming in again? Is he coming in again?
Yeah.
Yes, he is. Now, that means he must have radio because he hasn't been past the pits again.
That's right, yeah.
So somebody's told him, no, it wasn't a drive-through, mate. You're going to have to come in and stop. Right. Now, I am so interested to see what the team do here as he stops. Ido up. Well, there's not any degree of hustle there, is there? And they're asking him to get out of the car.
They look quite resigned. Yeah, he's out.
There's no fuel going into that, Kelvin.
No.
And was that it? That's an official.
In the blue. He's telling him where to go.
Yeah, in the nicest possible sense. Take the walk of shame. Now, what's he saying? Let's see if he points to his helmet and says, I can't hear. Now, what? I never did anything, honest. No, we called you in 17 times, mate. And what's happened now? Do you know, Kelvin, I think they've excluded that car. I think that's it, game over. He'll ease off here, so he gets the nice photograph with no one else in the picture, moves across to the pit wall, and wins it in some style. As we wait to see Michael Crum, Richard Lyons come across the line. Now, Fabio Carboni hasn't been in that car either. They're a long, long way back. But again, and this is unofficial, just by my addition, I reckon that will move Michael Crum up to the lead of the championship by 1 point from Ralph Furman and Daisuke Ito, who will come home in 6th position. We saw them just steal that last position in the darkness a couple of laps ago as the pace car is out on the back straight to pick them up. The race is over. Getting a controlled slowdown lap. How very organised.
Yeah, I haven't seen that before.
How very organised. Well, this has been a tremendous race. There is the 300 winner in the darkness, the 52 pole sitter, the tyre oil Kumho Suzuka, and Kumho taking the honours. Should mention, by the way, the winner in the 500 class. That's the first win this season in 6 races for the 350Z, the car that was so dominant in the championship last year. So the Calzonic team take the victory for Nissan, and the Teo Oil Kumho team for Toyota. There it is, a full lap on the opposition. It'll be the Directive Advan car, the Shogo Mitsuyama and Nobitsuru Taniguchi, another 2-driver team in second, and the little Toy Story Racing MRS, MR2 as we would call them, Morio Nita and Shinichi Tagagi. They are actually they were close together on the track. We haven't seen them.
There you are, the finish in the dark in terrible conditions. Just time to tell you that the next races are coming up from Motegi or Topolis, and in the end, a return to Fuji.